Shortcuts on the field, defenders they shiver. Goalkeepers nervous, strikers they'll deliver. Crowd roars erupted, you can feel the quake. 80,000 voices.
Hello there, how you doing? You're welcome to the channel. So, one huge topic to talk about, that is dual national. So, first of all, if you're new to the channel, please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. And let's go straight into it. Now, in recent days, we heard about Eddie Nketiah, of course, former Arsenal player, eligible to play for Ghana and England. He's come up in recent times to say he wants to play, that he will be open to playing for the Ghanaian national team. The coach of Ghana has had his say about the matter as well. Other fans as well have had their own say about it and made comments about it. Nigerians, Ghanaians, people from other countries as well. And this brings into light, what John Mikel Obi, Nigerian Chelsea legend, said about the issue of dual nationals. And I have my own opinion. If you've been watching this channel, if you've been on this channel, you know my thoughts and opinions on dual nationals. It's something that's very close and dear to my heart, and I've spoken about it, and I'll also be giving my opinion about this whole topic of dual nationals. So let's go straight into it. So first off, what we're going to do right now is to have a look at some of the comments and posts on X, especially what people have said about it. So I'll bring this up on the screen, and then we'll go straight into it from there. So let's go. So I'll bring this up on the screen, and there we go. And then we have it right there. Yeah. So I'll bring this up here. So this is from Antonio Mango. And he said, sorry, but no way should Ghana allow Eddie Nketiah or Callum Hudson-Odoi be in the World Cup squad. Didn't kick a ball during qualifiers, obviously rejected opportunities to hold out for England. Now that seems unlikely. And Ghana have qualified. They want to play. Do me a favor. 110%. 110%. I agree with Antonio on this one. Now, you all know my thoughts on dual nationals, especially when it comes to playing for Nigeria. For me, I've always been, if you have a drop of Nigerian blood, if you have some Nigerian ancestry, doesn't matter where you're born, whether you're born in China, you're born in England, you're born in Italy, Spain, wherever, whether you're within Nigeria itself, you should be allowed to play for Nigeria, especially if you're good enough, you should be allowed to play, right? But if you've come out to say, look, I don't want to play for the country, I prefer this other country, then fine, fair play. I have no issues with you preferring a different country. I have zero issues with you deciding to play for England instead of Nigeria or Italy instead of Nigeria. Fine, whatever your reasons are. Because we're here and we'll look at some of the posts people have given reasons that players may have for not wanting to play for the African country. Now you may say, England is more organized, more structured. Or you may say, the Nigerian football administrators didn't really care about you when you were developing as a player. Those are all legitimate reasons for you to say, look, I don't want to play for Nigeria. Look, I don't want to play for Ghana. Look, I don't want to play for Sierra Leone or Zimbabwe. Fair play to you on that one. But once you've made that choice, once you've gone on to say, I don't want to do this, then you now wait till you're 25. You wait till you're 29, 28, 30. Your knees are broken, no more pace, no more energy in you. Then you emerge and say, you know what? Whoa, Africa, I want to play for you. I want to play for Ghana. I love me some of that banku. My favorite soup is a goosey soup. So I would love to play for Nigeria. No. For me, it's a no. Now, there's an interesting video on here, or rather interesting post. I don't know if I will be looking at everything, posted here by Albert High. Let's see what it had to say. I think this is a Ghanaian. This is a Ghanaian who's posted this on his X. So let's see what it had to say and maybe even have a listen. So. Yeah, 1 second, I'll bring this back up. Let's get what he's indeed had to say. So I'll go back here quickly and I'll bring this.
Seems so pro. You people think you can decide for us again. Yet, yeah, and I got to go for Chris Hutton by Ebeji Sikadi and Kwasia for one Kasa. Then, in tough for boys, I
have to stop because I obviously don't speak any Ghanaian language. So, but let's have a look at the post itself that he put up. So, stop sharing for a minute. Stop sharing for a minute, and then we'll reduce this just to look at the post. Yeah. So I'll just share this back in a minute. So let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think. What's your opinion? What is your take on dual nationals in playing? Do you even want them at all to play for the African country? Do you think wherever you're born, that's where you should play? Some people have those opinions, but I disagree with that opinion generally. So this Albert Hyde, it says, if you didn't help Black Stars in qualifying, you are not playing at the World Cup. Every Ghanaian got to support this simple message from Kevin Taylor to Eddie Nketiah, Otsinodoy and Lavia Boys. Simple. Is that it? Yeah, fair play with that one. I get where you're coming from. If you haven't helped the team, Ghana in this instance, to qualify for the World Cup, and he should not play for Ghana in this World Cup or for any other African team in that regard. But I would give some context to this, because let's not all act like it's all honky-dory on the African side of things. Because sometimes on the African side of things, organizationally, you may have some issues, you may have some problems, you may have some officials that want things they shouldn't be wanting, that may be demanding for things that they shouldn't be demanding for before the player is allowed to play for Ghana in this instance, or Nigeria or Cameroon. You may have those situations. So if you have this kind of situation and now the players have been able to walk around those situations, fair play, I think he should be allowed to play. But if you come out like Eddie Nketiah has, or he did in the past, and like someone like Kevin Shada, for me, Kevin Shada, when I first heard his name, I felt like his mom was Nigerian, his dad was German, and but come to look at it, his dad is Nigerian, and for some reason was going by Shada. Fair play. But what was more important was that he came up to say, I don't even think about Nigeria. I'm all about Germany. So once a player come up to say that, for me, there is no going back. You've come up, you've said it, you say you don't want to play for that country anymore. You said it that you want to play for another country, whatever your reasons are. For me, people choose to get things wrong, choose to misunderstand things. There are valid reasons. There are valid reasons for you to say you want to play for England. Valid reasons. Better organizational structure, from grassroots up to the senior team of England. Fine. Top marks to you. If you look at Nigeria and say, oh, you're not as organized as I want to, as I expect, look at how England is set up, look how Spain is set up. All those are valid reasons. And if for that reason you choose to play for the European country, fine, I have no quarrels with you. But once you've made that choice, once you've come up with your chest and said, oh, I want to play for Germany. Oh, I want to play for Germany over Ghana, over Senegal. Oh, I want to play for England over Nigeria. Then stick to your guns. Because if those reasons that you point out are so huge, so important, are so detrimental to you, that you just can't stand when the green, white, green of Nigeria, when you are in your prime, then when you are 29, 30, 31, 32, those issues will still be detrimental to you, and you shouldn't be bringing yourself that is no longer good enough to say you must play for Africa, for the African country. Look at Shola Mobi. I remember when Shola Mobi was on fine form, a young player busting into the Newcastle United side, right? Invite to get him to play for Nigeria. He refused. He refused to play for Nigeria. And then, moments down the line, he decided that, you know what? I'm going to play for Nigeria. When England decided not to call him anymore, he was deemed as not good enough. And more importantly, he has faded out. He has fizzled out. For some reason, he wanted to play for Nigeria then. And annoyingly, he was allowed to play for Nigeria. Everyone knows on this channel, if you're watching this channel, that I am one of the biggest champions of dual nationals, right? It doesn't matter whether you were born in Hackney, you were born in Leeds, you were born in, Getstead, you were born in Scunthorpe. It doesn't matter to me. If you have that Nigerian heritage in you, your dad is Nigerian, your mom is Nigerian, your grandparents are Nigerian, I don't have any issues with you coming to play, and you're good enough. That's another thing. You were good enough to play for Nigeria. Boom, no worries. I am one of the biggest champions. I believe you should have that right. And I believe that as dual nationals, that's the only time football players have the opportunity to choose a national team to play for. And I'm all for that. But once you've chosen to play for one, once you stood on that high altar, right? You've climbed on your high horse to say, oh, this country is so good. This country didn't care about me. Just like Samuel Morigion is doing right now. Oh, I only care about Spain, or I don't even think about Nigeria. Okay. When you do all that, it's fine. Go ahead, Samuel Morigion. Play for Spain. No worries about it. If you're able to win the World Cup with Spain, fair play to you. If you're able to win the Euros with Spain, fair play to you. But don't come back when you're 30, 32 with maybe two Spanish caps, and all your pace gone, all your power gone, then suddenly you want to play for Nigeria. That is something I would not be having personally. And then there's one other thing before I go on to read, more reactions to this. I want to put this to Ghanaians out there. Even if Eddie Nketiah was born in Accra, Ghana, or was born in Kumasi, right? Is he even good enough? Is he good enough? Is he a difference maker? Is this someone you add to your team and you're like, oh yeah, this guy, as we go to the World Cup, he probably will get us maybe, he can get us 5-6 goals in this World Cup, 7 goals in this World Cup. Is he good enough? Or is it because he's born in England and he grew up in England? Is that the reason? Because I even apply this as well to Nigerian players. If that player doesn't have the ability, is not good enough, doesn't have the quality, you could be dual national, you could be tri-national, you could be septo-national, if there's anything like that, I don't think you should play for the country. What I don't want is garbage, like you're not good enough and then because, I'm a dual national, play for Nigeria. No. African countries deserve to get the best players that they can get. If you're not good enough to play for an European country, not even that, if you don't have the ability to play well, then you shouldn't be brought in. But we know administrators of African countries let us down in this regard. So, but I'll go on to read some more of this and I'll give my 2 cents about what players have done. And then, of course, I must talk about Mikel, because some years ago, I think a couple of months ago, Mikel Obi dropped this on his podcast, the Obi-Wan podcast. I think he talked about the dual national thing. And I agree with him 110%. And I know there are people who have come up with, who have deliberately tried, deliberately. You always have those ones, You always have those people that deliberately try to misunderstand. They make an effort to misunderstand what you say. And if I can, maybe I'll read some of the comments that people made to what Mikel Obi said here, but I'll just play this first and let's hear what he said. So let's go with that.
I've talked so much about players not representing their African root. Yeah. See, we've held meetings with these kids, with their parents, and said, listen, you are from Nigeria. Your dad is Nigerian. Your mom is Nigerian. Why don't you present your fatherland, Nigeria? We want to play for England, France, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then they wait.
Yes.
And then they keep waiting and keep waiting.
Yeah.
When they get to 25, 26, and they don't get a call up from England, then they call Nigeria. We shouldn't be treated as second options. We are not second options. You should be proud of your African roots. You should be proud to represent your African country. I want the best place to play in Africa. So you rather make a decision and stand by it.
Yeah.
If you decide you want to play for England, stick to it. Sit and wait. If you don't get a call up, you don't get a call up. But don't wait until 29, 30, you pass your best, whatever it is. Then you're, oh, Nigerian FA, I'm ready to play for you now. No.
Mikel Obi on point with that one. 110% on point with that one. Just like what I've been saying. If whilst you were 18, 19, wonder kid, scoring goals, creating chances, dazzling the world, right? And you say, and Nigeria comes for you, come play for Nigeria. Or Ghana comes for you, come play for Ghana. Cameroon comes for you, come play for Cameroon. Right? Egypt comes for you, come play for Egypt. Morocco comes for you, come play for Morocco. And you say, you know what? I don't want to play for Nigeria. I don't want to play for Morocco. I don't want to play for Ghana. You know, all I know right now is England. All I know is Spain. All I know is Netherlands. You know, I grew up in Rotterdam. I grew up in Amsterdam. I'm Dutch. I know my parents, you know, have some lineage to Morocco or to Nigeria, but I'm Dutch, so that's where I want to play. Fair play, no quarrels with you. Absolutely no quarrels with you on that one. But like I said, don't come back. Like Bukayo Saka, I have no issues with Bukayo Saka. He chose to play for England. He's stuck with England. He has gone on and he's played. He's made himself a very important player for the English national team. I have no issues with Bukayo Saka. Keep it cracking. Keep going. You know. But when it doesn't work out for you, don't come back. Don't come back. Now, I think it will do us some good service if I bring up some comments that people made to this Mikel Obi thing. Some of them were sensible, while some of them were, quite frankly, a bit silly in my opinion. That's just my humble opinion. And there's some other thing I'll talk about as well. So, yeah. So I'll share this now, and we can look at it and talk about it. Not just 5 views. Please smash the like button if you haven't. Share this video as well as we continue, to go. So I'll share this again, and let's read some of the comments here. So I don't know if you can see this, but let's go. So Bono Olumide says, what does he say right now? So he says, he says, my problem with whatever Mikel said is that you can't be absent from their development and expect them to choose you as first choice simply because you are dangling African roots. Right? You have gone to beg them to play without contributing to their growth and expect them to jump at you. Now, what he said, on the face of it, it sounds like it's smart. It sounds like it's intelligent. But it's actually silly. More than slightly silly in my opinion. So, if a player decides that, this is one of the comments I said, this person has willfully misunderstood what Mikel was saying and is willfully misunderstanding what a lot of us are also saying. Now, the point is, if you've chosen to play for a country, fair play. No one is hating you on that one. No one is saying you don't have the right to. No one is saying you should even choose the African country ahead of the European country. No one is saying that. Make your choice. FIFA said the rules. FIFA said the regulations. Make your choice and run with it. But no one is dangling African roots at you. You make your choice. If you choose to play for Nigeria or the African country in question, fair play, you can do it. But when you turn down that chance and then you wait for the country you feel everything is perfect, your soul is good, that's where you want to be, and it doesn't work out, don't turn back and say, oh, now I want to play for you, because you're not giving anyone a gift. You told her, I want to play for you now. Now, there are two sides to this, right? Just like Morocco did, just like I said, Morocco has provided a blueprint. You build relationships with these young players, right? You build relationship with them when they're starting at 15, 16. You build that connection with them. So when you come to speak to them later on, it's a lot easier. But if you've chosen to play for another country, stick with it. That's fine. Because the harsh situations that you're talking about, like, oh, the NFF did not really contribute to their growth, other people as well have been part of it. You know what I mean? Maybe you have people beyond limits that the NFF doesn't care about, right? Maybe you have someone like Peter Odopolo that has struggled through the Nigerian grassroots system. He's gone to play for Benfica. Now he's playing for the Benfica second side, right? You have all these people, right? So if those ones have pushed themselves through all this hardship, as we want to call it, you don't expect to just walk back and say, okay, now I want to play for you. No, it's not. If you don't want to accept to play for an African country, that's fine. But when you've made your choice, my brother, you've made choice. You've made your choice. So we're going to go through the comments again. Of course, this is banter. Of course, banter says Nigeria hasn't qualified hasn't qualified. Why are Nigerians speaking about World Cup? Another person conflating issues. But his contract accepted Ademola Lookman at the age of 25, who helped them to the AFCON final, winning the. Now, I must address this. This is yet another conflation. This is yet another willful confusion of the issues. Willfully confusing things, right? Ademola Lookman at no point turned down Nigeria. Now, I've had my feelings known about Ademola Lookman playing for Nigeria, and I've said that's not the strategy. If you want to get dual nationals to play for you, that is not the strategy you adopt. You don't wait for the person's career to look like it's going to break, and then the person chooses to play for you 25 at 26 years old. That is not a sustainable strategy. But Ademola Lookman had never at any point turned down the opportunity to play for Nigeria. So when he decided to play for Nigeria, fair play. But my opinion would have been different if Ademola Lookman had said, no, I'm not going to play for Nigeria. No. I'm not going to play for Nigeria. I want to play for England. Forget about Nigeria. Nigeria is not good enough. And then things become difficult, and then you want to come to Nigeria. That is a different discussion. That is a different position. But people like to conflate issues. And I'm sure maybe Ghanaians, you have people like this as well. Morocco, I'm sure you have people like this as well. South Africans, I'm sure you have people like this as well. You have people who set themselves to be the objective Nigerian, the objective black person, the objective Cameroonian. But when you look at it, really, they're not really being objective. If you look at what they say, if you look at how they sound about things, you know, in truth, they aren't being really objective. They're only being consistent contrarians. So anytime you say anything about, let's say, Nigeria or Ghana or whichever country you're from, they always find a reason to, like some people say, well, I don't watch Nigerian football, or I can't watch Nigerian football, or the team keep losing. Okay. But the team you support, the English team you support, the Spanish team you support, some people support teams that have not won the Champions League in like how since they were born, but they still support the team. They still support the team. But I don't support Nigeria. I cannot watch Nigeria much. What are you talking about? You see people when you say, oh, this player that turned down Nigeria, why should he now, when he's now 29, play for Nigeria? You say, oh no, what do you mean by that? He didn't invest in his growth. Why do you want us to play for you? If that becomes such an issue, and that made you not to play for the country, then stick to your guns. Stick to your guns, right? Stick to your guns. Stick to what you want to do. Stick to the choice you've made. Now, there are two sides to this when we talk about dual nationals, right? the Football Federation, the NFF, for instance, or the GFA, Ghanaian Football Association, you have the responsibility to make contact with these players, build relationship with these players when they're young, 15, 16. You build that relationship with them, have the interaction with them, have interaction with their parents, let them know that you really want them to be part of what you're trying to do, what you're trying to build, of what you're doing. Just like Morocco I've been so successful with. And that's fine. And you go that way, right? You have that responsibility to do that. You have that responsibility to go out there and invite the player. Actually speak to these players. You have to do that, right? And when you don't do that, it's on you. The blame is on you. Someone like me, I will put the blame on you. When you decide that for whatever reason, you want to get something in return for the player, before the player can play for the national team, then it's on you. Then you should be held accountable. Then you should be held responsible for the country missing out on that talent. But if the player has just gone out to say, you know what, I don't want to play for this country, I want to play for this other country, fair play. Play for that country that you have chosen. That is fine. Don't wait till things have turned sour for you and then you choose to play for another country. Don't wait for England call up for 5, 6, 7 years. You're busy waiting and it hasn't worked out for you. Then suddenly, you know what? I want to play for Nigeria. No. I want to play for Ghana. No. Now, for the individual football federation, if that player is a super special player, let's say it's someone like a Haaland level player, right? Scoring 60, 70, 80 goals. And for whatever reason, the person decides not to play for you on time, and the person later on decides he wants to play for you, then you can decide whether or not you want that player because it's a difference maker. But as a general rule, for me, if a player has come up with his chest and say, I don't want to play for this country, for Nigeria, I want to play for this other country, then stick to it. Like Samuel Morodian, he's made that decision. He said that. Spain, he only thinks about Spain. Fair play. Go on. Emmanuel Lemega, the player I like, he said something. Initially, he wanted to play for Nigeria. Then he went on and said he wants to play for Holland. Once you've made that choice, man, stick to it. Stick to it. Stick to it. You've been waiting for international caps from certain countries, and when you don't get it, you want someone to be pushed out of the team for you. Not really. That's not going to fly for me. And we'll go through some more things that people have said on X about this whole thing. So Ghanaians, if you're on here, if you're watching, what do you think about Eddie Nketiah, just deciding to play for Ghana at this point in time, or are you even bothered? Do you even think about it? You feel like, okay, maybe if he chooses to play, that's fine. If he chooses not to play, that's fine. And the question is he even a difference maker? Is he even a difference maker? Now let's listen to what I think is the creator on YouTube and on X, Adika. For the second, I'll share this and then we'll have a look, and then I'll give my 2 cents of opinions to what he has said, what he has to say. So I'll share this screen now and let's hear what he has had to say.
There's a very high chance Eddie Nketiah will be in that Ghanaian World Cup squad. I'm looking at it one eye now because he didn't come out and make any definitive statement that these boys that did not accept the call up until Ghana qualify for the World Cup will enter the squad now. You're just sitting on the fence. Look at what he said. He said, we will look at each case one by one. There are players I have been chasing since 2021 who didn't reply to our call-ups or want to come. He also said, it is difficult for the players who rejected us in the past to be called up. We as Ghanaians need to have some pride. He didn't say it is impossible for them to be.
I think that's
Which means it is possible, but
nitpicking
it's
a bit
hard.
too much.
He's just using different English to say that it is a possibility. And Nketiah said this, I think, in 2023 when England finally called him up. He said once the call up was there, it was really hard to turn down.
Just hold on a second. Hold on a second. We'll continue with the video, but let's just address some of the things he said. Now, I think that's a bit too nitpicky there. I think the coach coming out to say it's a bit difficult. That will be difficult for. It will be difficult for those players that they try to invite that didn't come, that didn't participate in the World Cup qualifying games and all that to play for Ghana. Fair play, it will be difficult. I know he's saying he should have said it would be impossible and all that. And then the team who was alluding to Eddie Nketiah, saying he's now open to playing, for Ghana. Now, fair play to that one, right? And I think it's also fair for the Ghanaian coach to look at things case by case, because, for instance, you could invite a player and maybe other circumstances surrounding that player just meant the player hasn't come. But on the other side, what I'm talking about, what I'm referring to is if a player decides that I'm not playing for you when the player was, really sizzling hot, right? And the player says, I'm not going to play for this country. I don't want to play for Ghana. I want to play for England. I don't want to play for Nigeria. I want to play for Spain. I want to play for Italy. Then, for me, it's a no-no. It's an absolute no-no. Then you should go back to the country that you decided that you want to play for. So let's go on to let's go on to listen to what he said.
Nketiah opting for England. Nketiah also said that he can play for England or Ghana, but if England call him first, you go. Meaning what? Ghana is second option. He's only coming to Ghana because England did not call him. Mm-hmm. Come, Ghanaian coach, come here. We Ghanaians want to talk to you. Me and my Ghanaian brothers. Me and the Chile Association. It be like you don't collect egg for behind, Abi. They don't give you 20 crates of egg. Because why is this even a conversation? Where was he before the World Cup? Where was Nketiah before the World Cup? He should not be. He will spoil the chemistry of our World Cup squad. Kudus and Partey, all of them. Ayu. They will feel betrayed. The dressing room will become toxic. He should not be anywhere near the squad. Ghana no be second choice. If you not choose us first, Charlie no come to our country at all. At all. See, do you know what he will do? Accept him. He should come and play for us. He will play in all those meaningless friendlies. He will play. When time to choose the final World Cup squad, come. He should enter our World Cup squad at all. After that, if he's serious about playing for Ghana, he should come and play in AFCON qualifiers. AFCON, yes, we need him AFCON qualifiers. He should come and play. He's a decent player, but he's not better.
Why should that have Ghanaian sound anyway?
Williams, Ayu, better pass them. We do it without them. Now you don't see Glory, won't come join us. Who pound for Jimmy Kwasia? Chale, na Ponche, one corner Chale. Not try am Chale. Yeah, they look you one eye you. No betray your country. To be betrayal is spit on
the nice take by Dika there. Want him. So people have been coming with receipts. That was the thing. That is in this era, in this age, you can't really escape. If this happened in the 1980s or 1980s, 1970s, early 90s as well, you wouldn't have known. But so this is what Nketiah, some statements attributed to Nketiah. So he said, Arsenal Eddie Nketiah says he wouldn't play for Ghana but England. So when you come up and say these sort of things, then it makes it a lot difficult for you for people to accept you, right? Like for me, one prime example was Kevin Shada. Kevin Shada, there was talk about him playing for Nigeria. He came up and said he doesn't even think about Nigeria. Like, he doesn't even see himself as Nigerian. Maybe he knows his dad has some connection with Nigeria, but he's German and all that. So for me, once a player does that sort of thing, then it's done. Bye-bye. Play for the country you want to play. If you get any success there, brilliant, good. Now, this is not like a movie where it was an Hollywood movie where the person would fail. No, I'm not even praying for you to fail. I'm saying if you make your choice, respect your choice, stick with it, run with it, right? It's a different thing if it's under 17, you're just young, nobody's invited you, under 20, nobody's invited you. But when teams actually invite you, actually want you to play for Nigeria, Cameroon, Ghana, Morocco, Tunisia, Egypt, South Africa, Zimbabwe, and you decide that you don't want to play for that country, especially when you have media attention, you have notoriety, you're in your prime, people are looking at you, everyone wants you, and then you decide that, oh, this country isn't good enough for me, stick to it. Stick to your guns. Don't shift. Don't jump ship. Don't jump ship. Now, on the flip side of things is, of course, you need the Football Federation, the Football Association of African countries need to step up with respect to how you get players to play for you, with respect to how you recruit players. Not only dual nationals, but even grassroots players. And this has been the issue I've had with the Nigerian Football Federation. And I've talked about it on this channel a lot. And I think I have to talk about it as well to provide some context, to provide some balance on here, because this channel isn't for hot takes, but for actual nuanced football talk and football discussion, right? If a player is there, you've not invited him, or you've put out some, crazy demands before the player can play for you, then you leave that player no choice, And then if a different, administrator, head of the FA or head of the NFF or whichever association, for the country, comes up to say, I've changed the game, we no longer demand for all these sort of things, we're inviting you as a player, come play, we need you to win this tournament, we need you, to win this World Cup, we need you to participate in this tournament, then that's fine. That's fine. That's good. That's good. But when you're actually invited to play for a country, you say no. Then switching midstream is something I do not agree with. Big dual national wahala. So people come up with weird takes as well. Because I want to be fair to all sides in this. There are some fans that say, oh, this player, he was born in London, so he shouldn't play for Nigeria. I'm like, that's crazy. If the player is good, he's eligible to play for Nigeria, play for Ghana, play for Cameroon, Ivory Coast. He should play. He should play. He should play. But when you come up to make that crazy decision, when you've come up, especially when you step in front of the camera and you say it, my brother, stick to your guns, man. Stick to your guns, stick to the country that you want to play for. Wait for them. Tammy Abraham, let him wait for England. He should keep on waiting. No need. You're an English international. You're an England international. Stick with the three lions of England. Stick with them. Stick with them. Stick with them. But one thing we must also know, while we're talking about these players, while we're saying make the decision, we should also look at the psychological side of things as well. Because I remember there was a time I was watching, I must have said it on this channel before, but I was watching the game. I think it was England under 20 thereabout team, under 20 team. That team, you had Solanke in it. You had, I think, Sheyi Ojo was meant to be part of that team, but he wasn't in that team. I know Solanke was in the team. And the commentator, because usually with football commentary, you have the journalist commentator who is media trained and all that, and then you have the ex-player who is brought in as an expert or something, to give commentary on the game, to give sort of knowledge, game knowledge, commentary, add some spice to the commentary. There was this player, Danny Mills. I don't know if you know him. He used to play for Leeds United. He used to play for Manchester City as well, right? So they were talking about all these players, they're eligible to play for Nigeria and England. How do we ensure we don't lose his talent? And then he went off. He absolutely went off reservation. Oh, why should they want to play for Nigeria? What would they get playing for Nigeria? The only thing they can get is maybe to win an AFCON. Basically debasing not just Nigeria as a country, debasing AFCON as a competition. you know. So they have these things in their head. Growing up, you're already made to feel like if you play for Nigeria, it's more of you being a failure. It's more of you being a failure. You've not really, achieved anything because you're not that good enough. That's why you've played for Nigeria. That's why you've played for the African country. So that is why it's important. Just like Chuba Akpom said in that interview he had with Omar Akatuba, that players are 17 years old, 18 years old, and 19 years old. They don't have any connection with the FAs. They don't have any connection with the football administrators. Their families don't have any connection. You don't have anyone from the FA, from the National Sports Commission, having discussions with their parents, knowing about their welfare and things like that. So you build that disconnect, you create that vacuum. So on the part of the FA, on the part of the Nigerian Football Federation for Nigeria, if it's Ghana, on the part of the GFA, you should be stepping up to the plate. You should be making sure that you build connections with these players. You have a scouting team, that doesn't just scout players who are 25 in their prime playing, but that scouts people, grassroots players within Nigeria, grassroots players within Ghana, players who are dual nationals outside of your country. You're scouting, you're watching, you're making contact with these players. So when the time comes, they know that, oh yeah, you have been around them, you have been interested in their welfare. So it's easier for them to make that decision. So a lot of these things are psychological aspects to it. You have the psychological aspects to all this. So, and then one question we need to ask ourselves as well, because while I'm for dual nationals, because if you're eligible, you're eligible. Come on and play. But one question we must ask ourselves, when it comes to these players, is this player really good enough? Like, is he really, 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 really good enough? Or is it because he's a dual national? I think this should be the rule. This should be the, let's say rule. This should be the rule you have at the back of your mind when you're making a decision to get a dual national player to play for you. Ask yourself this. If he was Nigerian, like if he was from grassroots Nigerian football, right? Would you look at his skill set? Would you look at his ability and say, yeah, I want this guy in my team? Oh, this guy, I think he should be in the Super Eagles. Yeah, this guy has potential to be in Super Eagles. Because don't just go and pick anyone because, oh, he played 2 seasons in Arsenal Academy. Bring players that are difference makers. Like for me, from a Nigerian perspective, Rio Gumoha is a difference maker, absolute baller. He's there, absolute baller, difference maker. So if he's the kind of player, you say, wow, okay, this guy is a difference maker. Even if we had this talent within the country, he's a player that would definitely still have wanted to be a player for the country, because that's some mistake. That's the error that you have a lot of associations in Africa making. They invite players that are not really good enough, but because that player is a dual national, speaks with an accent, you invite him. No. Is the player good enough? For me, first of all, you must have the eligibility thing. That's okay. Your parents or your grandparents or whatever way you're connected to Ghana, connected to Nigeria, connected to the African country, right? Fair play on that one. But are you good enough? Are you a guy that is a difference maker? Are you a guy that can make an impact? The fact that you're based abroad doesn't mean you're better. But if you're actually better, then okay. If you actually can come in and make a difference to the team, fine. Look at Semenyo. But I think he made a decision a long time ago to play for Ghana, so fair play to him. And he alongside Kudus, are the people that have been carrying Ghana. For instance, Ethan Wandery, I've been asking the question, what has been happening with the invite? What has been happening with that invite? We've not heard anything about it. The Tosin Adebayo one is where I've been dynamic with that topic. I've had to be dynamic because looking at him, what he brings to the table, his height, his profile, his ability to pass it from the back, I think he would be the perfect replacement for Trus Ekong if you want to play with that sweeper centre back. I think he will be the perfect replacement for Trus Ekong because we all know Trus Ekong's career is coming to an end, at least with the national team, because of course he said the AFCON will be his last AFCON, and who knows, maybe if Nigeria does win the playoff, this World Cup will be his last tournament for the Nigerian Super Eagles. So you must start looking for people to come in, and that's why I talked about people like David Odogu. I've talked about just Nadara Bayo. But my thing with just Nadara Bayo is it kind of feels like each time he's interviewed, I think there was an interview when he came to Nigeria, he was asked about playing for Nigeria, and he was like, he was not going to answer the question. So it is becoming a bit too smoke and daggery for me when it comes to Tosin Adarabioyo, right? If you're waiting on whether England is going to call you, then you might as well mosey off to England and play for and stick with England. You might as well go and stick with England. And like I said, no judgment from me. Whichever country you choose to play for, no judgment from me. Stick with it. Stick with it and play. Because some of these players have it in their mindset that if I'm good enough, I'll play for the European country. If I'm good enough, if I'm top quality enough, I'll play for the European country. But if I drop in quality, maybe then I play for the African country. No, we're not having any of that. We don't do that here. Not at all. Not at all. Let me know your opinions in the comment section. If you want to join the call, maybe I'll drop the link to the chat on here. And then one thing I want to say as well that I think a lot of players don't get, right? Because for me, I like the choice. I like the fact that you can choose. Because when it comes to international football, players don't really have the choice for the most part. So a country can call you, have you tied to the bench for years and years and years and years. You don't get to see any minutes. They get you capped, the maximum number of times, and then you're dropped, and then that's it. That's your international career gone. So for the most part, international players in international football don't have the opportunity to choose. But if and when you're a dual national, or if you're a dual national, that's the only time you kind of have an opportunity to choose between, England and Nigeria, which one would I go for? So I like that you're able to choose in that regard. But once you've made that choice, once you've decided that you want to stick with one country, stick with it all through. Stick with it all through. I know that people in the comments will be saying, let's get our house in order. Why would you be turning down players? Don't conflate issues, right? Of course, the Nigerian Football Federation needs to get our house in order. The NPFL, you need to get the NPFL in order. You need to get the grassroots football in order. How you integrate players from all these grassroots teams. Like, how do you have a player like Saka Yusuf? And Saka Yusuf, or be Yusuf Saka, didn't go to the under 20 World Cup. How did that happen? How did it happen? I just can't even think about it. So the integration of players, grassroots players, to the various age-grade teams is important. You have to do that. Commercial side of football in Nigeria, you have to take care of that. Visibility of the league, you have to take care of that. All those things you have to do. All those things you have to, take care of. But for this issue about dual nationals choosing to play for a country, and when you make that choice, for me, that's it. Especially when you come out to the media and say things. And this is why one thing I wanted to say. I think I digressed a bit, but this is the point I wanted to make. Sometimes, as a player, if a country invites you, say, we want you to play for us, study the team you're going into. Not from a standpoint of, I don't think my quality is good enough for this country, but my quality my low quality is good for this country. That's not it. Look at the country, because this is the only time you have to choose. Look at the country. If let's say you're a 9, you're a normal number 9 striker, right? Look at the country. Look at the people ahead of you. If you have Harry Kane, you have, let's say there's a national team, for instance, that has Harry Kane, Victor Osimhen, and Erling Haaland as their 3 striker choices. This is just an illustration. They have Harry Kane, Victor Osimhen, Erling Haaland. These 3 of them are the strikers. And then they invite you, your 22-year-old, say, okay, come to this team, want you to be a striker for this team. And you have the right to also play for another country. Do you think it's wise for you to say, you know what, I'm going to play for that country that they have 3 top strikers that I'm going to battle to come through? You have to look at it. You have to look at it and look at the country that is inviting you as well. Do I have opportunity to that country? Maybe it's easier for me to go there and I have better opportunity to show what I can do to make my impact on that team. So that's it. That's my two opinions on the dual national thing, dual national problem. Every country seems to have it. And this is not just an African thing. That's what some people think. It's not just an African thing. We've seen Belgium and Greece go, knock heads, for I think Karisteas. I think it's Karisteas. He played for the Belgium under-17 side. I think now he's playing for Greece, for the Greek senior national team. So you have these things. You have Jack Grealish with Ireland. You have Declan Rice. He had played, I think, 1 or 2 games for Ireland, and then he chose to go and play for England. So you have these things all over. This dual national issue. You have it all over the world. Countries are always, battling to get the best players, and that is why, for me, whilst I'm of the opinion that if you come up to say, I don't want to play for this African country, I'm waiting for this European country, that should be it. That should be done for you. If you come up and you've actually said that with your chest, open your mouth wide and said that, then that's curtains. While I've said that, I'm also saying the football federations, the football associations in Africa should begin to be more strategic with respect to how they get players to play for them. You should begin to be more strategic, have more connection with the players, with their families, while they're developing, while they're coming through the ranks. Maybe is it an Ajax, is it at the Chelsea, is it at Liverpool, is it at La Masia? You have contact with their parents, follow the development as they grow up the ranks, under 30s, under 40s, under 15s, under 18s. You follow them, you build interaction with them. You begin to find ways to integrate them. Like I even said previously on this channel, you could have friendly matches in those countries. So it makes it easier for those players, like for instance, Nigeria, like Chizaram Ezenwata. You could have friendly matches in England, and then the likes of him, the likes of Rio Gumoha, they play for the Super Eagles in those friendly games. It's easier for them. You look at them from that standpoint. Begin to adapt how you get these players in, because we have to ask ourselves, how has Morocco been able to do it? They are the standard right now. How have they been able to do it? They start building the connection from early, from when the players are really, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, they begin to build that connection with those players, their families, their parents. They begin to have the connection with them. So when the player is 19, 20, it's not a shock. The player already sees himself as a Moroccan player. And another thing is, these players, their families, they're all plugged in, they're all connected. They all have some filial relationship. Like I'm sure the family of Rio Ugumoha and the families of maybe Chizaram Ezenwata have some connection. Maybe they go on lunch sometimes together. Maybe they go to the same church or something. They have that connection. So when you treat one poorly, it makes it difficult for you to get the next one, because they know this guy, this is how this NFF they behave, this is how this GFA they behave, this is how they do it. So once you build that healthy relationship with the parents, with the families, it becomes a lot easier for this player to get to play for you. But even if you do all that, of course, this is one thing people don't get when I talk about dual nationals on here, right? Even at that, if the player can still come up to say, no, I want to play for England. I want to play for Spain. I want to play for Italy. That's all I know. I don't really know that much about Nigeria. My parents fine. They're Nigerians, but all I know is Rome. All I know is London. Then, when they have done that, fair play. Let them go. Let them go. When they've come to that point, you let them go. But you'll be left with that satisfaction in your heart as a federation, as an FA, that we did our best. We did our level best to get this player, to play for us. Because I know a lot of football federations out there, a lot of people, football fans out there that like to, follow. How do I put it that like to bow their heads to their football federations a lot. We use this as an example. You see, he said this one came out to say he didn't want to play for Ghana. So that means that they can reject you. Of course, you can be rejected. But the question is, have you indeed made that effort? Have you indeed been strategic? Have you been genuine with your intentions when you speak with these players? Have you been honest? Have you been above board? Have you gone there not demanding for? Have you gone there not demanding for any weird sort of thing? Have you been completely above board? If you have, and the person says no, fine. You've done what you can do. You've done your own side of things. The player refused to play. Refused to join to play for Nigeria. You should to play for Ghana, whichever country you're from. That's fine. That's fine. You've done yours, but do your own part. Do your own part. For instance, Ato Okonkwo switched nationality a long time ago. Chuba Akpom switched nationality 2019. He switched national team allegiance to Nigeria since 2019. And since then, he hasn't been invited, hasn't been called up. So what are you going to say about it? So for that one, you can't say, oh, Eddie Nketiah, you can't pull that excuse because the reverse has been the case. Like Rio Ugumoha right now, he's already alluding to the fact that he has ties to Nigeria. So why don't you build on that? Because it's not a thing where we want to bash the player. The federation, the FA, have to do their own side of things as well. If you've done your own side of things and the player says, no, I don't want to play for Nigeria, I want to play for England instead, then that's fine. Then we can come on to say, okay, you've turned us down, keep going, keep it moving. Now, on the other side as well, something I want to say that is very important. I know some people might say, oh, but you say if the person says they don't want to play for your country, you should. Now, what is the caliber of that player? Is that player a real difference maker? A real difference maker that he comes to the team and instantly makes a difference for you, scores tons and tons of goals, or is an absolute rock at the back, top defender? You have to look at those things. And now this is for the FA themselves to consider. Is this someone that comes in and makes absolute difference for your team? And now, in all the things I've said, this is quite different from someone who maybe opts to play for a country, wants to qualify for a tournament, and people say, oh, is it because of this tournament? For me, if that player is good enough, top quality enough to play, in those tournaments, and if he comes to that team, he's a difference maker, then you should let him play. So long as he has not come up to obviously and outwardly reject your country. Because if you let that happen, that means you're laying very bad, very faulty, foundation. So now I'll just drop the link in here. I don't know if anyone wants to join. I'll give 5 minutes. If anyone wants to join the conversation or has something different to say, I will So I've dropped the link to the charts, to the video in the comments, in the chat. You click on it if you want to join, and then we go on from there. But so overall, we've been talking about dual nationals wahala, dual nationals problem, the whole thing around dual nationals. Should they be allowed to switch nationality to play for a country? We heard about Eddie Nketiah, now suddenly wanting to play for Ghana. We've seen lots of posts about it. Some people saying no, they don't want him. And I look at the list that you have. I think a Ghanaian account that put out there of players that could be eligible to play for Ghana. I talk about what's his face now, Lavia. I think if Lavia is eligible to play for you, man, that gives you such impetus in your midfield. So I think that's something that maybe Ghana should look at. And to the best of my knowledge, I don't think there's been any talk about him rejecting Ghana. So that being the case, then you should jump on it. Okay, so the link has been in the chat for a while, so we can anyone join in. So we're talking about this whole thing about dual nationals. I talk about Eddie Nketiah, so that's an opinion about it. Now, speaking about dual nationals with respect to Nigeria, let me say this. Now, there are some I would want to be part of this team. One is Leslie Gochukwu, because that midfield is important. Ethan Wannery is another one. Rio Moha is another one. I think all these are players that can instantly come into your team and make a difference instantly. There's Jeff Ekato, but I think he's still very raw, still very young. He's a little from Italy and Nigeria, so have a look at him if that even comes up. There's, of course, Alessandro Makondeli, so that's no one to look at as well. So there are some dual nationals, of course. I think Kazim Olaigbe as well. I think that would be an absolute game changer for Nigeria, given how Eddie Nketiah wants to play with his two wingers that can masquerade sometimes as tens, behind the strikers, caught inside, one infield. I think Kazim Olaigbe could be a very good, or would be a very good pickup for Nigeria. I think he's a very good player. He's got the pace, he's got the skill, and he's got the attributes as well that Eddie Nketiah is looking for. That is because Eddie Nketiah, the thing with Eddie Nketiah is right now he's waffled along. He's done this. He's jumped from one formation to another formation. So if he's sticking to this is 4-4-2 or is it 4-2-2 formation, then I think Kazim Olaigbe would be a good choice as well. And I think Noah Didi Sternberg would be a good choice as well, to look at. Because I think he too he can be that left-hand side option alongside Kazim Olaigbe being the right-hand side option. And then, of course, not to forget, he's not a dual national, but it seems like I have to mention this name each time I do a video on here, Philip Otele. Philip Otele is another one that Nigeria should be looking at. He's not a dual national, obviously, so it's one that you invite right now. He will be available to play for Nigeria going into these playoffs in November. Right now, it's still pretty close to the timing is still pretty close and tight if you're trying to get any dual national to switch nationality to play for Nigeria in these playoffs. But if you can, you need to get some of them that can come in and be difference makers, for this team. So Link has been there for a while. I think maybe people are a bit busy at this time. This just past 12, so maybe people have things they're doing. But I'll see you on yet another video on this channel. So splendid rest of your day. Stay well and most definitely stay blessed. Bye-bye.